I wanted to go through my 2025 mobile hunting setup, which is probably my favorite so far. And I've been saddle hunting since 2019 and been mobile hunting since I was a kid, whether it was a climbing tree stand, hang-ons, a saddle, or a combination of all of them. And I want to say that, saddle hunting is something that I believe is a tool. It's another tool that you can have in your toolbox, and not an end-all be-all. Although I've only climbed in a tree stand a handful of times over the last few years, but that is not saying that I don't believe there's a place for those other methods. But for me here in Pennsylvania and the other places I've traveled to, it's been really efficient. But what I want to do is go through my gear that I have here for 2025, and then also be able to show you how I use it, how I get up the tree efficiently. So first and foremost, go through the saddle. I have the Timber Ninja Duel here. This is a new 2-panel saddle that we had come out with this year. And honestly, I am fortunate, I guess, to be able to use all of the different saddles in the lineup. So I have the Ultimate, which I've hunted out of for quite a few years. I have the Nano, which is a breathable single panel saddle that only weighs 16 ounces for early season. And this one's the newest one, the Duel. And I haven't hunted out of this specific saddle yet, but it is the exact same chassis as the Ultimate, meaning that it's the same padded 2-panel, it's the same design. The differences with it is it doesn't have the magnetic stick clips on the side, it doesn't have the mud flap stick carrier on the back, and it doesn't have the removable buckles here. This had been changed out just so that I can get nice and tighter. And by removing some of those features, you can have the cost quite a bit lower by being able to get rid of some of that stuff, but with maintaining the same level of comfort just without the BS on it. But anyway, so I'm gonna go through this saddle specifically and how I have it set up. One of the complaints that I had when we were been testing some of the Timber Ninja stuff in the past were the pockets. So the pockets on the saddles were kind of loud. They were super nice from the standpoint of they were highly water resistant, reflective orange inside liner, but they'd be loud when you brush up against a tree. So we've changed out the fabric on the outside to our new Ninja Max material that makes it a little bit stretchier and has kind of a quiet fleece outer to it, but maintaining the highly water resistant zippers and functionality. Also making these side bags a little bit bigger. So these are the ridge pouches. I run a right side ridge pouch on the right side, and what I have in there is just, I have my lineman's rope that I keep it girth hitched onto the lineman's loop part there, and then that is an 8mm Predator, and then I have another 8mm with a Kong duck on it that I use as my tether when I get up the tree, and I'll show you how I use that here shortly. This was originally designed to be a water bottle holder for an Nalgene bottle or anything else, and I'll use that on like my Western hunting packs or anything else to use as a water bottle holder, but it also acts as a dump pouch. It cinches tight on top, has the same quiet Ninja Max material on the side, folds flat, but just has the drawstring on top. You can put stuff in there. So what I keep in there is I keep a Beau rope, so I have that girth hitched here to the other lineman's loop, and then I have my gear strap inside of it here. So this gear strap, this is a Wayward Ridge one that is basically AM steel, and the way that this works is just using an AM steel strap that goes around the tree, so it's super light, and there's some 3D printed bow hangers and other hooks there. I haven't decided if this is going to be the system I go with yet. This is what I've been testing and messing around with. Show you how it works. Works pretty well. I think the regular webbing straps that I've used in the past, whether they're Black Diamond or Jacked Gear, any of those ones, I think so far have worked the best for it. But this was so lightweight, I like it, and it doesn't take up a lot of space, so I just got to figure out the system a little bit better there. But I'll show you that when we climb up into the tree. On the back, so what's cool about this saddle, it's got MOLLE webbing around the whole top, and back there is what I keep. This is the the ridge belt pouch. So this is a non-directional pouch, meaning that it can go on either side. You could put it on the side bags, or on the back you put on a waist belt of a backpack. It's got two-way zipper, watertight, pretty big capacity in here. And this is where I keep my knee pad. This is just a standard knee pad that you wrap around the tree, just a padding with a strap on it. And I took an old face mask I had of Sika's and I wrapped it around, made it camo there on my own. Oh, one last thing on the Duel, which is the same on the Ultimate and the Nano, is this thing back here. This is a platform holder. It uses magnets, so you can just feel it. You get it somewhere close and it clips in nice and tight. Your platform won't fall out, but to get it off, all you do is pick up on the tab and it comes right out. So you're able to do that without even looking at it from behind you. Going to the next piece of equipment, we have the Timber Ninja Kunai. This is brand new for 2025. This thing is freaking awesome. It weighs 4 pounds, 10 ounces. It's a 20-inch platform, and it attaches to the tree in a way that is completely different than anything else that's out right now. This was built kind of on the idea of an old tree stand that was back in the 70s and 80s. And I can't remember the exact name of what that tree stand was. But when I first saw this, I was like, this is kind of a weird contraption. But I'd been hunting out of it. Here's the one I'd been hunting out of the last year and a half when we were doing testing. And just to show you kind of it here. So I've got it all taped up. I've got some just Mountain Ops like hockey tape that's wrapped around it to silence it, because it is made out of billet aluminum. So it's not cast, so it's billet, super strong. And just using one of the SSP XLs from Timber Ninja to strap it to the tree. You can also use a cam buckle strap or really any other attachment method to be able to put that to the tree there. But I've hunted every single sit last year out of this stand and late season the year before. I really like it. The cool thing about it with having this maximum amount of foot room is that there's no cables like a tree stand and there's no posts, so that reduces the weight. So you have the maximum 20 inches from front to back, 16 inches at the widest spot, 14 inches at the narrowest spot as you go through here. So this platform is really cool. One of the things that I found with it are the teeth on the bottom are so sharp. So when we were doing the final version, we put these glow in the dark kind of rubber caps that go over top of it. They just fold back and then you just put them back right over top of it, keep it covered, keep your gear from getting tore up by having it on the back of your backpack, or if you happen to fall on it, you're not going to stab yourself. And the other change that we had there was, instead of having the traditional ears that came off to attach to, we made a hook, so it keeps your strap on there better when it's on the tree, no chance of falling off. But I'll go through that a little bit more once we're going up in the tree here. And the last thing I carry is 4 sticks. So I carry the Timber Ninja C2s, which I have a mix of attachment methods on here that I'm testing. But the main one that I use is just the Timber Ninja USA. It's a universal stick attachment made out of AM steel. Just has a Prusik knot on it. Super simple, lightweight, silent. Have these nice little keepers on here, so when you put it back on, it keeps everything nice and tight. The bottom stick that I have an aider that I keep on here. So this aider is, I have a single step aider. I'm gonna play around a little bit more this summer with double steps or triple steps, but I like to keep an aider on the bottom step. And I have it girth hitched here in this window so it doesn't fall off, and then the other side I just loop on there, keep it nice and tight. I know other people will take it off completely. You can put it in your pocket, move it between sticks as you're going up, but it's a really lightweight method to be able to go up in the tree. We'd went away from like, if you remember the C1 climbing stick, you could have the integrated aider. It was like a steel cable that you pulled out, which was really nice. The only issue with it was that you get a little bit of noise with your boot when it was wet going in there. And then we also changed it where these bottom pieces have glow in the dark end caps here, so as you're going up, either without a headlamp or low light, that you're able to see it and make sure you have good footing. But these sticks have been completely redone. They look similar to the C1, but a few of the changes, again, the glow-in-the-dark caps here, the same standoff that we've had before where it bites the tree super well. Added a few weight reduction holes in it. Changed the step. This is our Carbon Tech step. So this is a blend, a carbon blend that's on the step here versus the polymer that we're using on the old one. And it gives, this is a wider step, as you can see, it's pretty thick. So it gives more foot room. I believe the dimensions are 5 or 5.5 inches. From that, you can take a look over on my website to check that out for sure. But that's super nice. And then there's magnets here that keep them all held together. As you see, I got these picked up here. You can have them stuck together with magnets. But what I do on mine, I put a little piece of Tesla tape on here, which is like, they're meant for dampening sound with car wiring systems in their doors. So I have those in here, and what they do is obviously dampen the sound, but the reason why they didn't come like that to begin with was we wanted to make sure people had the ability to be able to change it, modify it however they wanted. They want them to be super strong together. You could leave just raw magnets together, but you have to be a little bit more careful when you put them together so they don't clang. But these are nice because keep them nice and silent, barely any noise when they go together. So you're slipping in early season, and silence is super important as you're getting close to where you think a buck might be bedded. That's really nice. And obviously carbon fiber. I mean, like, even when you do bang these together, they sound more like rattling antlers than they do metal banging together. So that's a pretty cool side of it. The other change was we have these dog ears, I think is what Jason was calling them on the outside. Allows you to use just a ton of different attachment methods and modify it the way you want. And so I like to carry 4 of them traditionally. All right, so we're gonna get the saddle on. The first thing that I do when I go to put the saddle on is I just step through the bridge here. Get that up into position. And so I run the top panel, and with really all the Timber Ninja saddles, you want it just up above the belt line. And then with the magnetic belt system, so you just put it into place, take it off, it's just easy, simple. Take tension off it, pull on that tab, and you're good. But what's nice is you can have this, you can walk with it into the woods or put it in your pack, whatever, but this is not gonna come loose on you. That was a big problem I've had with saddles in the past, was them coming loose and you're always cranking and tightening it down. This is not gonna move. And so it makes it easy for hiking in, say an early season sit, and you don't even wanna carry a backpack. You can put some of your necessities in your pouches and be able to go in. But got the leg straps. Recommend that you do use these leg straps. You come up, there's these little black tabs here. This is for each of the straps. Put those in. Okay, now I got the saddle on and I'm ready to go up. When I'm going to climb up the tree, I keep this bridge nice and tight so it's out of the way, and then take the lineman's rope out of the pack. This is what I'm gonna use to connect to the tree. But first and foremost, I'm gonna get the bottom stick on. So as I said, I use the stick with the aider to go on the bottom here. So I'll grab that. All right, so I got the stick here. I'm gonna take the aider. I'm gonna connect that here. Get the foot strap in the right spot. Now I'm gonna take apart the USA to attach it around the tree. So there's 2 ways to do this easily. You can either pass the stick around the tree, you can reach around it. That's one method, or you could throw the rope around, but putting the stick around definitely helps if you're having trouble being able to get that there. So I'll take this loop here, and you can either put it through the hole and then loop it back around the dog ear. What that does is just keeps it really secure, get it into place. So this has just a prusik on it. Get this up a little bit higher. Say right in there. Now you want to set the stick into its place. Put it in there. You know, this is kind of a goofy tree here, but still holds in there pretty good. And now to take the rest of the stuff up, how I'm gonna do this. Now, I'm not gonna go the whole way to the top of the tree to show you, but I'll show you here at the ground level how I'm carrying it and pulling things off. And then I'll show you once I go up, set another stick, and then put the platform up. So next you wanna take the platform, put it on the back, you find the platform holder, loop it through, and then you just wanna find the hole again. Now we've got the platform on there. If it's weighing you down a little bit and you tighten that up, make sure you get that nice and tight. And all right, so here's something why, if you saw in the one I tested all last year, I taped the sides of these platforms because, and this is where practicing in the summertime, before you hunt, whatever, helps out so much. Because when you put the stick on here, they can come back and kind of bang against this. So that's why I would keep it where I had tape around that. But on the Ultimate and also on the Nano, you have the stick clips. Here you do not. So I've got these little Amsteel stick haulers, and I've got them over on the website as well at eastmeetswesthunt.com, and they're like $6, and they just wrap around the stick. They're a little bit more cumbersome than the actual stick clips that come on the Ultimate and the Nano, but these work pretty well. So put one on each side, and then traditionally I'll keep the one that I'm putting up next just in my hand as I go up. But this would be the time when you'd pull out your bow rope, attach your bow to it, and get everything ready, throw your backpack on, and then climb in. So how I'm gonna do this next is pull out this lineman's rope. At any point, you should never be disconnected to the tree. It's super important to make sure that you are connected to the tree at absolutely all times. You just never know when a stick will kick out, or you think you're grabbing onto something and you're not, and you have a chance of falling. This gives you absolutely no chance to be able to fall. So wrap that around. You have the bridge attachment point here with the tacky bridge on it, and then you have where you would put the lineman's rope. So this is what you want to put that to, the one up above it. It's separated so that you can find it easily. On this lineman's rope, I kind of stopped using the Kong duck on it and just went to the Prusik with a tender, because you can just still crank it like you would a Kong duck, but it eliminates some noise. So how I'm gonna do that is just put my foot up in here. When you're using an aider, if you haven't before, you want to put your toe into the tree. And when you climb, I like to grab the back of the tree versus the stick itself, so you're not pulling that stick away from the tree. Then you get up, pull on that tag end, tighten it up a little bit, go up to the next spot here. And when I'm on the bottom stick is when I tend to take off the next climbing stick and apply it versus getting to the top of it. For the next stick, so where I like to put it is about eye level, because I know once I set it, it's gonna come down a little bit and still give me a comfortable step to the next spot. So I bring that around the tree, get that Prusik to where it needs to be. Same thing, I tend to run it through one of these holes and then hook it around those dog ears, because it just makes it more secure. Again, no chance of being able to slip off. Get that on there, tighten it the best you can, set that stick in. Now you're going up to the next level. Now I'm up on the next stick. This is where I'm gonna set the platform. And traditionally, I really like when I can set the platform off to the right of my stick, and I do it just a little bit above. Honestly, it depends on the tree and how high I need to be. If I need to be a little higher, I might put it up where it's almost like a whole nother step. Or if ideally, I'd put it about the same level so I could use that step to help as another extension of my platform to walk around the tree. But for the purpose of this and showing in the video, I'll put it on the left side of the tree towards you there. So I pull the platform off the back with the platform holder. All right, now I'm gonna take the little bungee off of the end of this SSP XL. First thing is I wanna have this girth hitched around here on the opposite side. So when I go to throw this around the tree, I can do that. Now you're gonna see this rope You see this secondary loop here? This is what's different from the old SSP. The other one had spliced holes within the rope that you would tie it back to. The problem was, to get around really big trees, you need a super long rope. Now you can just use an 8-foot rope and work with just about any trees. So when I put this around, I'm gonna put this at about the 1 o'clock position and then loop this rope back through it. And I'll show you that in a little bit more detail here, but just to get going here, I'll put this through. Okay, I got that about 1 o'clock. Take that rope, run it back through and hook it, so then you're able to work a little bit more hands-free. But all right, once you have it in position, then I'm gonna take these little covers off of the teeth. So just peel those back so that you're able to work freely. Pull this out, okay, those are off. This one's off on the bottom. You take this safety strap and you're gonna loosen it all the way up. And now it's time to tighten this up. So you've got this one around the ear on this side. You can work kind of hands-free with it there. It takes a little bit of, make sure you got tension on it. Once you have this in a position, now you're going to tighten up this prusik. And where you want to have it tight at, and what I've found is, so when you have it right about there, now that's where you want to have it tight. And now you're going to finish loosening this up so this post is all the way out, and kind of set it down, get it in there, set good. And then you're going to just crank it over. You want to go just past level and then back up just above level. Okay, so once this is in that position just above level, you put the post, the folding stability spike, against the tree. And now you're gonna cam that over, really get that in. And then the last step is taking this safety strap. And what this does is this allows it so even if you didn't have it set particularly right, because you want to make sure these teeth are really in the tree here. If they're not, this front end can kick up a little bit. You're not going to fall, but it could scare you pretty badly. So this is where that helps keep that into position. Now once I have that there, keeping my lineman's rope attached, I'm going to climb up and I'm going to stand on the platform. So kind of test it out a little bit, make sure everything is good. Now I'm up on the platform. Now this is when the next step that you're gonna do is reach over in your right pouch and you're gonna be able to grab your tether. So for when you're a right-handed shooter, I like to take this end here, this looped end, wrap it around. Pull that through. Me personally, I'm keeping this a little bit lower than you would see a lot of people having eye level. I'm typically kind of chin to chest level, down around that way. I'm gonna loosen up this bridge that I was talking about earlier. Get that, tie this in, tighten up on it. And now at this point, this is when I would take, you know, I'd be at this point, my bow would be hanging down there, but I'd leave that kind of hanging at this point and take out my gear strap and put that, I'm gonna reach up kind of higher to put that gear strap up on the tree. I'm gonna start with where I want my bow to be, which is right about there. Put that in my teeth. So this is like kind of like a boat cleat. So I'm gonna put that through, pull that nice and tight, and then start wrapping it around there. And this is where I'm still new to the AM steel side of it, and I'm not sure exactly how I feel. But I'll take this little tag end and I'll just make a loop and I'll show you up close. I'm not sure exactly what this is called. It's super simple though, that I tie my backpack onto. So make a little loop. I take off this hero clip from this side, put that in the loop, That's where I hang my backpack, so I can keep my backpack low so it's out of the way on those weak side shots. But this is where I'd hang the bow, hang my backpack, and I'm into position. Now this is when I'll take the lineman's belt off, knowing everything is pretty good, you know, checking the stand, making sure everything's super secure. And one thing when you're using a mechanical ascender, this is just something I do out of from a safety standpoint, is I'll take this, I'll wrap it up in here and make a little loop, something that's gonna be kind of a knot that won't. So if for some reason that gave out, I have another stop. There's always the stopper at the end of the rope that is supposed to help you, but redundancy in safety, I think you can't go wrong with. But okay, so I'm in position here. As I look, it's like, okay, I want to tighten up this, you know, bridge rope a little bit more. I'm gonna undo the panel here back on the saddle, give myself a little bit more comfort, loosen up this waist belt just a little bit so it's not so tight. But now I'm in position. So with this saddle platform, the thing I like with it being so big is you can stand here like this, stand nice and tight up against the tree. You can shoot like you would with traditional shots. You can take the bow up over the top. So the weak side shot is always the hardest shot when it comes to saddle hunting. You can grab your bow, go up over the top, up against the tree, shoot. Just really comfortable system. I like how light everything is, compact, but gives me more comfortable foot room for all day sits. The one thing I forgot to mention here is this is when I would reach around the back of my pouch and grab out this knee pad. I'll put links to everything that I got in the show notes down there below. I'll have like a full blog over at eastmeetswesthunt.com that has links to everything so that you can go check it out just in case I missed something what I'm talking about in this video. And then with like, if I'm wearing my Sika pants that have knee pads or anything in it, that in combination with this is typically enough to keep me comfortable. So when I'm getting tired during the day, I can kind of sit like this. I can take the panels, loosen up each of these sides, and just sit kind of like you're in a hammock. But makes it super nice, simple, effective system. So this is the full rundown of my 2025 mobile hunting setup. If you want to check it out or check out more, head over and take a look at the blog and gear list on the website. If you have any questions, suggestions, anything like that, leave them down in the comments. I appreciate it.